The moment I landed, before I even hailed a cab, 2 texts destroyed my Christmas. From my father, "Christmas is happier without you. Don't come." From my mother, "Find a cheap hotel. Your brother doesn't want you here." I stood in the airport, surrounded by strangers hugging their families, and felt colder than I ever had in 5 years of Alaskan rescue work. My name is Sadie Calloway. I spent 5 years pulling survivors out of avalanches, promising dying men they'd see their families again. Nothing prepared me for my own family slamming the door in my face. Growing up, I was the invisible middle child. My brother Bradley was the golden heir to our family's hotel, the Ashworth Grand, a Charleston landmark worth almost $1 billion. My younger brother Tyler was the coddled baby. I was the one who did everything right and still never mattered. 5 years ago, I caught Bradley stealing $200,000 from the hotel. When I told my parents, they called me jealous and threw me out. I left for Alaska that night and still sent money home every single month, begging silently for love that never came. This Christmas, I finally got vacation time. I texted my mother I was coming home. She replied with 1 heart emoji. I let myself hope. Instead, I got rejected before I even left the airport. I checked into a rundown motel and, with nothing left to lose, opened a legal envelope I'd been carrying unopened from Alaska. Inside were loan documents I'd co-signed 7 years earlier, a temporary favor for the family. The fine print said if the loan ever defaulted, ownership of the hotel transferred to me, the guarantor. The loan had defaulted 18 months ago. The billion-dollar hotel was legally, entirely mine. By morning, my phone was flooded with panicked calls. I met with attorney Vivian Cross, who confirmed everything, and found something worse. Several loan documents bore my forged signature. My family hadn't just used me. They'd committed fraud in my name. I walked into the Ashworth Grand for the first time in 5 years. It was falling apart. Peeling paint, exhausted staff, occupancy down 40%. Bradley stormed at me, furious, in front of a group of investors. Vivian stepped forward calmly. "She can be anywhere she wants. She owns this hotel." The room went silent. Bradley turned white. At the family meeting the next day, my parents played victims while I laid out the evidence. Forged signatures, stolen funds, years of lies. My father screamed that he built that hotel with his own hands. I told him the truth didn't care about his pride anymore. I gave them 24 hours to leave. Then it got darker. Vivian uncovered $8 million siphoned through shell companies. Not just Bradley, but both my parents. This wasn't mismanagement. It was a family-wide theft ring, built on my name and my forged signature. My youngest brother Tyler showed up next, confessing he'd been sabotaging hotel systems on Bradley's orders. But he couldn't do it anymore. He revealed my parents were plotting something even worse, trying to get me declared mentally unfit, twisting my rescue work into a fake breakdown story. To steal the hotel back through the courts? Then, at 3 a.m., security caught an intruder breaking into the data center using a stolen maintenance pass. We found Tyler unconscious in the basement. He'd overheard the attacker's voice before losing consciousness. It was our father. My own father had hired a fired ex-employee to sabotage the hotel's infrastructure entirely, willing to destroy the building rather than let me keep it. He was arrested, sentenced to 5 years for conspiracy and sabotage. My mother sold the house and fled to Florida with Bradley. I didn't attend the sentencing. There was nothing left to say to a man who tried to burn down the one thing I had left rather than see me win. 3 months later, I stood in the fully restored ballroom of the Ashworth Grand at our grand reopening. Chandeliers blazing, staff smiling with real pride for the first time in years. An investor who'd backed my turnaround told me he'd never seen a comeback this fast. I told him the truth. I didn't fix the hotel. I just gave the people who worked there permission to care again. Tyler stayed. He now runs the maintenance department for real, not just in title, and he's engaged to someone who makes him genuinely happy. My mother calls sometimes from Florida. Never an apology, just a call. I let her because I finally understand closure doesn't need someone else's honesty, only your own peace. 1 year after that Christmas Eve text that tried to erase me, I stood in the lobby of my own hotel, welcoming guests as its owner and CEO. Top-rated, fully booked, alive again, just like me. That morning, Tyler gave me an old photo of the two of us as kids on the hotel steps, missing teeth, no idea what was coming. "Maybe it's time we remember the good parts too," he said. We hugged longer than we ever had. Not out of obligation, but by choice. Walking the grounds alone that evening, I finally understood something it took 30 years to see. I was never broken. I was just buried under people who refused to make room for me. All I ever needed was space to breathe. And once I finally took it, no one could ever take it away from me again.